Right now, in this exact moment, something inside you is screaming for change. Not the kind of change you post about, not the kind you announce to people who aren't asking, the kind that wakes you up at 3 a.m. and reminds you that you are capable of more than what you've been settling for. You are at war, not with the world, but with yourself. With the voice that says later. With the comfort that whispers enough. With the mediocrity that feels safe because it asks nothing of you. And here is the truth most people never confront. You are either sharpening your blade every single day, or you are letting it rust. There is no neutral, there is no pause button. Every hour you spend leaking your energy into noise, into explanation, into the performance of growth, rather than the practice of it. That is an hour your future self will not get back. Most people are losing control of their lives, not because they lack talent, not because the odds are stacked against them, but because they cannot stop broadcasting. They share their vision before it has the strength to stand on its own. They argue in comment sections with people who have already decided not to understand. They defend their choices to people who have never built anything themselves. Real transformation doesn't happen when you're explaining yourself. It happens in silence, in the moments no one sees. And to master your life, you must first master your mind. For as Epictetus taught, no man is free unless he is master of himself. Silence is not emptiness, it is not weakness, and it is not absence. Silence is a superpower, a strategic tool that allows you to conserve your energy, protect your vision, and stop reacting emotionally to things that were never worth your reaction in the first place. Think of words the way you think of currency. They derive their value from scarcity. When you spend them carelessly, on filler, on noise, on arguments that were never yours to win, you signal to the world that you do not understand value. But the man who speaks with precision, who chooses his moments, who lets silence do the work that most people exhaust themselves doing with words, that man commands attention without demanding it. The Stoics understood this. A room is not silenced by the man who speaks the most. It is silenced by the man who speaks with the most weight. And weight comes from restraint. When you stay silent in the face of disrespect, you create a psychological imbalance. You force the other person to sit in their own noise while you remain steady. You reveal nothing, and in revealing nothing, you hold everything. You must also stop announcing your plans. This is not optional. It is essential. When you talk about a goal before you've achieved it, your brain receives a hit of false satisfaction. It registers the social acknowledgement as partial progress. The motivation to do the actual work drops. That premature celebration is not harmless. It is the enemy of discipline. It consumes the very energy you needed to make your vision real. Move before you speak. And often, do not speak at all until the result is undeniable. Your mind will either be your weapon or your prison, and that decision is made not in grand moments of crisis, but in the first 30 minutes after you wake up. Most people hand their power away before breakfast. They reach for their phones before they've had a single thought of their own, and they let anxiety, noise, and other people's urgency flood their consciousness before the day has even begun. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself at dawn, not with motivation, not with performance, but with a quiet, grounded declaration. I have to go to work as a human being, not as a slave to comfort, not as a victim of circumstance. As a human being with a mind capable of reason and a will capable of discipline. Your mind will either be your weapon or your prison, and that decision is made not in grand moments of crisis, but in the first 30 minutes after you wake up. Most people hand their power away before breakfast. They reach for their phones before they've had a single thought of their own, and they let anxiety, noise, and other people's urgency flood their consciousness before the day has even begun. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself at dawn, not with motivation, not with performance, but with a quiet, grounded declaration. I have to go to work as a human being, not as a slave to comfort, not as a victim of circumstance. As a human being with a mind capable of reason and a will capable of discipline. Winning the morning creates momentum, and momentum is the difference between the people who talk about change and those who quietly become it. Before the world makes its demands, you must establish who you are. Drink water. Move your body. Feed your mind with wisdom rather than noise. These are not rituals for the sake of routine. They are acts of ownership. They are you claiming your mind before the world tries to claim it for you. Because if you do not program your mind first thing in the morning, the world will gladly do it for you. And it will not program it in your favor. To achieve self-mastery, you must develop what can only be called clinical detachment. The ability to observe your own life without being swallowed by it. Imagine a scientist watching a chemical reaction in a lab. The chemicals may bubble and shift and change violently, but the scientist does not panic. He observes, he records, he responds with precision, not emotion. That is the posture you are building toward. When someone disrespects you, understand what is actually happening. They are offering a transaction. They are hoping to purchase a reaction, a flash of anger, a defensive response, a moment where you abandon your composure and hand them proof that they got to you. If you respond with calm observation, with simple facts delivered without heat, the transaction fails. They receive nothing. And disrespect only continues where it finds access. You're responsible for your response, not their action, your response. That space between stimulus and response is not just a pause. It is your entire kingdom. The man who controls that space controls his life. If someone succeeds in provoking you, your own mind is complicit in the provocation. So control the inner dialogue. Because when the inner dialogue is disciplined, your focus cannot be broken by fear, by doubt, or by the noise of people who are never building what you are building. Marcus Aurelius wrote that nowhere you can go is more peaceful, more free of interruptions than your own soul. Not a monastery, not a retreat, not a retreat city or a different circumstance. Your own soul, that is where the peace lives. That is where the clarity is. Solitude is not a punishment. It is not a sign of failure or social rejection. It is the fertile ground where wisdom grows and the moral compass is calibrated. When you strip away the noise, the company, the validation, the constant performance for an audience, you finally get to find out who you actually are beneath the masks you wear for approval. Real strength stands in silence. It does not need a stage. It does not need witnesses. It chooses solitude because solitude is necessary for alignment. When you build yourself where no one is watching, you create a foundation strong enough to hold the weight of public success. And when that success comes, and it will come, it will not hollow you out, because you built it on something real. Stop seeking mirrors in others. Stop measuring your growth by whether someone else can see it yet. Find your own reflection within. The person who needs the least approval holds all the power, because they are no longer a prisoner to the shifting opinions of people who are still figuring themselves out. Self-mastery is not about waiting until you feel ready. It never feels like the right time. There is always a reason to wait, always a condition that hasn't been met, always a version of the future that feels more convenient for discipline than the present moment. That is the trap. That is how years disappear. Action precedes motivation, not the other way around. The key to getting started is to simply move, even when every fiber of your being wants the easy path, especially then, because discipline is not punishment. Discipline is a form of self-love. It is the promise you keep to your future self when your present self wants to negotiate. When you train yourself to do what is right instead of what is easy, consistently, without drama, without needing to announce it, something shifts. You stop fighting with yourself. You stop waking up in conflict with your own choices. You begin to live aligned with the person you are actually trying to become. You are the author of your day. You are the captain of your mind. And every sunrise is another chance to practice these principles. Not perfectly, but deliberately. Let your growth be steady. Let your strength be silent. Let your results be your only argument. There will be moments on this path that feel isolating. You'll watch people get loud recognition for things that won't last. You'll go through periods where your silence looks like you have nothing to say, where your focus looks like arrogance, where your discipline looks like distance. Stay the course. History belongs to the people who built quietly and arrived powerfully. People who were invisible until they were undeniable. They did not win by being the loudest. They won by being the most consistent, the most focused, the most willing to endure being unseen while they became something worth seeing. That is the secret this title promises. Not a trick, not a tactic, a philosophy, a way of moving through life that places your energy exactly where it belongs, on you, on your work, on your growth. Focus on yourself, stay silent, build in the dark, and let the light come from what you create. Stand tall, breathe clear, and repeat after me, I will master myself before I master anything else.